No. Come on, where is it?
Dave, it's your Idaho Central app here. Any chance you're missing a debit card? Let's get that taken care of for you. With ICCU's card control, you can turn any card off with the tap of your finger.
You got it.
And back on again. Out, 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 out. The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
It's the fall kickoff sale at Lithia Ford of Boise. We're going all the way so you can score more for your trade-in and trade up to a new Ford truck or SUV today. Visit Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
Welcome to the Lithia Ford of Boise pregame show from Bronco Nation News, as we get you set for the latest news, insight, and analysis as game time approaches. The BNN pregame show is presented by Lithia Ford of Boise. Check out lithiafordboise.com to view the full inventory of vehicles, or check them out at 8853 West Fairview in Boise. All Bronco Nation news broadcasts come from the Western Collective studios. Head down to Western Collective's locations in Garden City or downtown Boise to try some of their delicious beers, including the Horseshoe Golden Ale, the first beer to support an NIL collective. Now, let's head out and join BJ Rains for the Lithia Ford of Boise pregame show from Bronco Nation News.
Good evening, Bronco Nation. Welcome on in to the Lithia Ford of Boise pregame show. We are live at ExtraMile Arena. The boys are back in town, Abe Jackson. After a long trip to the Cayman Islands, the Broncos are back, and we are back here on the Lithia Ford of Boise pregame show, getting you set for Boise State and Utah Tech here at ExtraMile Arena, about an hour away from tip-off. Cayman Islands went 2-1, Abe.
Yep.
Couple days off for the holidays, and now back at it tonight against Utah Tech.
Yeah, it's amazing how different 2-1 feels when you go to Myrtle Beach a couple years ago and you lose the first game to Charlotte, and then you end up winning your next two games. I think Loyola Chicago and then Colorado. You leave Myrtle Beach thinking, hey, 2-1. All right, we lost the first. We end on a couple wins, but then 2-1 in the Cayman Islands just feels a little bit different. But I like the way that the Broncos played. I think we learned a lot about the Broncos, especially offensively. They got to get back on track. There's so many games in a basketball season, right? We say it every single time. So many games. You're going to have a bunch of A. You're going to have a handful of A+. You're going to have a handful of C+. You're going to have a majority of like B to B+ games. Can you grab a couple wins when you have a C or a C+ game? And the Broncos almost did that. Gave up a step-back three-pointer with 2 seconds left to lose to Boston College.
He is Abe Jackson. You'll be hearing him on the call coming up at 6:30 in about 23 minutes with Bob Beeler over on 670 KBOI, the legendary sharpshooter, former record holder for the Broncos in terms of three-point percentage scoring. And we're appreciative, as always, to have him here with us, as we will pretty much every pregame show the rest of the season. We will talk football a little bit with the rankings coming out. Little Boise State football team in a pretty good spot. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but while we have Abe, we're going to talk basketball here. And Abe, a lot of ways to go with this, but Omar Stanley, I mean, if this team is going to get to where they want to be, Tyson and Omar both have to play better, but in particular, Omar Stanley falling out in back-to-back games. You see him right there on the court warming up in front of us. How do they get Omar back to the all-conference level he played at last year?
I don't think there's any way to sugarcoat it. Those were not his best games. He got in foul trouble, never got into rhythm, couldn't really get the feel of either game because he was in foul trouble so much. And, I'd like to see him just get a bunch of touches, in this game, different parts of the court. I think that where he was underutilized, it's hard to say. He only played a few minutes in each game, it feels like, because he fouled out. But that free throw line area, when he caught the ball last year at the free throw line, turned and face, he could knock down that mid-range jumper, and he could also have a quick one-dribble move to the hoop and finish. We haven't seen that much from him this year, and I don't know why, if it's some of the new faces that are really good at back-down moves. Tyson, of course, and then Buchanan has shown that he can score in multiple different ways. So I would just like to see Stanley get a bunch of touches, get some of that flow back into his game, because he's somebody that you're going to have play well if you're going to make a run.
Javen Buchanan, we'll wait and see, but Leon Rice hinted yesterday there may be some lineup changes coming here, at least one, maybe two, just to kind of shake things up early on in this game. But you would have to think if that would mean if there is one, Javen Buchanan would work his way into the starting lineup. 28 points in the semifinals, 24 points in the championship game. You could have made an argument he still should have been the MVP. Definitely would have been the tournament MVP if that final shot didn't go in. But what did you learn about Javen Buchanan on that trip? And it's going to be very curious because him and Tyson Degenhardt are very similar players. How do they get both those guys to coexist together on the court?
I think that when one starts feeling it inside, that's where you got to go. But then once you start feeling it, you know that a double team's going to come. And then that other person who can knock down those threes start to adjust yourself at the three-point line. We saw a couple times over in the Caymans where Javen had back-to-back buckets, and then a double team got to him, and it kind of, I don't know if it took him off guard, but he just looked really uncomfortable. So you know that once one of them starts rolling in the block, that a double team's going to have to come pretty quickly at some point, and that's when the other guy gets involved, either with cutting to the hoop or making yourself available outside the three-point line.
Yeah, I was very impressed with Javen Buchanan, though. He certainly looks like he's going to be quite a player here.
He is, and he knocked down, I think one of the games he had 4 threes. In the 20s, the last 2 games for points, and did it in all sorts of ways.
He was unstoppable.
And what I really liked was in that second game against South Dakota State, he misses his first 2 threes. And then he decides, I'm going to go inside, and he posts up the 6'11", 260-pound center from South Dakota State on back-to-back plays. So you miss 2 threes, and then you go in and you post up a guy who outweighs you by about 30, has a more height advantage by about 5 inches, and you score twice on the inside. He can score in a whole bunch of different ways, and I love it.
I thought the freshman Julian Bowie was another guy that really impressed on that trip and showed that he's going to be a serious player here too.
He will be, and we're talking about where some of that three-point shooting going to come from, and he showed that not only can he hit the threes, but he can hit some pretty clutch threes. There was a three-pointer against South Dakota State with a couple minutes left where the game was tied. Tyson kicked it out to him from having the ball inside, and the freshman knocked down a 3 to give the Broncos a 3-point lead. So, the conversation about three-pointers, it's almost every year, right? We had it 2 years ago. We had it last year. We're having it this year again. Where are they going to come from? And, Julian Bowie could be one of those guys that gives you 1 to 3 threes a game.
He's Abe Jackson. My name is BJ Rains. This is the Lithia Florida Boise pregame show, getting you set for Boise State and Utah Tech. You can hear Abe coming up in 19 minutes over on 670 KBOI with Bob Beeler, but we got him for a couple more minutes here. Abe, you've been on these trips as a coach. I don't know, in terms of being a player, if you played any of these events back in the day, but you go down to the Cayman Islands, you have your fun, you come back, you eat some turkey. We saw Boston College lose right away when they came back.
What a horrible scheduling. Man, you got to talk to your scheduling guy. You get back from the Caymans, and 2 days later, you're playing a home game?
On Black Friday at noon
against Dartmouth, and you drop it?
Yep, they must have tried to squeeze one in there and couldn't do it. But the point is, we saw last night, Nevada, they had a week off after going to Charleston. They come back as an 11-point favorite. Now, I know Washington State's a quality team, but that's a double-digit favorite. That's not a good loss at home after their long break. You got Utah Tech. That's the game you're favored to win by 20 points. You would hope it's not close, but what's that like after that travel and that layoff, trying to get back at it tonight?
Yeah, there's a lot of basketball and a lot of really any sports that doesn't have to do with your physical ability, but it has to do with your mental preparation and your mental strength during the game and whatever time of season it is. You got basketball is kind of tricky, right? Because it goes through so many things. You go through 2 different holidays. You go through 2 different semesters, and you might get the spring break sometimes if you're playing deep into the season. So there's a lot of times where you have time off, that you have time off, and you have to get back into the mix really quick. And I think it was good scheduling on the Broncos' part to come back from the Caymans this time of year and play a team like Utah Tech, who's 2-7 on the season.
And I know that the Boston College loss was disappointing for fans, for players, the program.
For everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, no one was happy with that. It was a good shot by the guy, and the Broncos did not play well down the stretch, but still they were there to get a win when they had, I wouldn't even say a C+ game. That second half, I think, was like a C-.
Yeah.
Especially offensively.
Well, what I was going to say is the net ranking comes out last year. Boise State started like 134th in the net ranking and had to climb their way up. They started at 38 in the net ranking. So they got some credit. I mean, and they've got to take care of business, obviously, still, but they're starting in a nice place here. And a lot of their opponents got some pretty good numbers, too. So as bad as it seems, if you find a way to win these next 4 non-conference games, and again, you're asking a lot. You got to beat St. Mary's. You got to beat Washington State. But if you can find a way to do that and you go into conference play 9-2 and you said you have wins over – quad 1 wins over Clemson and St. Mary's, like you could still kind of cancel out that Boston College loss. Like that's not a loss that, is ultimately going to keep them out of the NCAA tournament if you're able to get some other wins.
No, and there's every single year for a team in the Mountain West. I'll bet every team in the Mountain West, you look at their schedule when the season's done, you're going to look at one game and you're going to be like, that wasn't their best game. And then, so right now that's Boston College. I think San Francisco was a better team than Boston College. I think South Dakota State was a better team, and I think Clemson's a better team than Boston College is. It just wasn't their best performance. But the best thing about basketball is that there's so many games. It's not you lose one and then, oh my God, are we going to be able to climb back up into the NCAA conversation? So many games still left to go that you can easily climb your way back up, but the Broncos are going to have to find something offensively and can't go 8 minutes again without scoring a field goal.
Mr. Payne says Boston College down 19 to South Carolina right now, so they're not.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I think Boston College might be one of the lower points of the season, just in how the Broncos played.
But as we talked about, I mean, you mentioned we looked it up though. The last couple seasons they've started slow too, and been a win. And this is kind of a couple early losses. They figure out the lineup, fans freak out, and then you look up in a couple months and they're 20-6.
Well, last year we were just looking. Last year they started 3-3. The year before that they started 1-2. And in both years are NCAA tournament years. And so, a lot of games to get back into the mix, and it starts against a team that you should dominate and hopefully get some of that flow back that you had against Clemson.
You told me you had a fun fact about Utah Tech.
So Utah Tech is the first national collegiate pickleball champion. Utah Tech, they're one of the only schools that offer pickleball scholarships, and they had the first annual collegiate pickleball national championships I believe just a couple months ago, and Utah Tech was the national champion.
So we should expect in about 18 years when your kid's ready for college, Utah Tech on a pickleball scholarship.
On the pickleball scholarship, we'll take it. Maybe it'll be in the Olympics then, too. Let's go.
Tonight, Abe, again, 21-point favorite. I'm not going to ask you for a detailed scouting report on Utah Tech. But what do you want to see Boise State do tonight? Just get that mojo going because the next 2 Saturdays, 2 pretty big games.
And I think that that's what this is about. I mean, of course, it's about beating Utah Tech, but a lot of it is getting prepared for these next 2 Saturdays, Washington State and St. Mary's, because you should handle Utah Tech if you run none of your offense and just go on-ball screen and let your guys play. You'll beat them by double digits that way. You want to run your offense, get your guys shots on the floor where they're supposed to be in your offense, so then when you do play a team that is much better like Washington State or St. Mary's, you're going to be in that flow offensively. And again, I would love to see Omar Stanley get, 10, 12 shots in this game from different spots on the court and get him going.
I'd like to see Andrew Meadow get going a little bit with his outside shots.
Him as well. Yep.
Yeah. Hey, Chad says Utah Tech just gained so much respect from me. He must be a pickleball guy. Hey, appreciate it, man. We'll be listening 13 minutes over on 670 KBOI. Abe Jackson, Bob Beeler on the call. We appreciate it, Abe.
All right. Thanks, BJ.
There he is, Abe Jackson on the call. Coming up in about 13 minutes over on 670 KBOI. We got basketball talk. We got football talk. How about the football team in the college football playoff rankings? We'll get to that here shortly. If you have any comments, thoughts, score predictions, Little Birdie told me there might be a change or two to the starting lineup, so not supposed to reveal that yet, but stay tuned for that starting lineup. They may try to shake things up a little bit with what they saw down there in the Cayman Islands, so wouldn't surprise me if we see a new player or two in the starting lineup tonight for Boise State. We're going to hear from Leon Rice in a little bit. I mentioned we're going to talk some football. We'll keep showing you warm-ups, but hey, Western Collective, if you're coming down to the game tonight, pick up a Horseshoe Golden Ale and Orange Chaos Seltzer, both from Western Collective, and both offer a portion of the proceeds over to the Horseshoe Collective, giving money to the student athletes at Boise State. The Horseshoe Collective sponsored, partnered up with Western Collective. And again, you can get those beverages at Albertson Stadium on Friday here at the basketball arena or your local retailers, including their brewery there in Garden City. Our title sponsor, Andy Rowe and rowpaint.com. All your painting needs, make sure you check out our title sponsor, rowpaint.com. Whether it's concrete coatings, their world-famous concrete coatings, whether it's the interior, exterior painting, they got you covered at rowpaint.com. Idaho Central Credit Union, ICCU.com. There's a branch pretty much on every corner, but the easiest, that mobile e-branch online banking right there in your smartphone. I thought I was happy with my previous bank. I made the switch to ICCU, and the Rains family couldn't be happier that we made the switch. And shout out to Clark and Shelby and the whole crew. ICCU has re-upped for another year with Bronco Nation News. So we appreciate our friends at ICCU today locking in another year of their sponsorship with Bronco Nation News. So we appreciate them, one of our biggest supporters. Return the favor, guys. Head on over to Idaho Central Credit Union next time you are looking for a new bank. And even if you're not, you'll be happy if you did. Speaking of being happy if you did, make the switch to Matt Bauscher and Bauscher Real Estate. I know everybody has about 5 friends that are realtors in this town, but if you want the best customer service, you want to see that team right there where literally everybody in that picture is going to help you buy or sell your house, BauscherRealEstate.com. You need to check him out. Matt Bauscher is now part of the Boise State home team. He's been a big supporter of Bronco Nation News from the start. So when you're looking to buy or sell that next home and you want the best personal service you can find, doesn't matter the size of the home, they're ready to help you at Bauscher Real Estate. Again, check them out online at BauscherRealEstate.com. Ridley's Family Markets, shop Ridley's.com. They got locations across the state of Idaho, surrounding states. You can download that Skip app, get savings up to 40% off at the checkout line. And again, whether it's Treasure Valley, Magic Valley, McCall, they got you covered at Ridley's Family Markets. You can find a location near you online and download that Skip app in your smartphone at shopridleys.com. We are taking a live look at ExtraMile Arena. Get those score predictions in. Get those player of the game predictions in. What do you want to see tonight? What would be a positive night for you tonight at ExtraMile Arena? Obviously, you want Boise State to win, but does it have to be a 30-point win, a 40-point win? I think the point spread is about 21, 22 at KenPom. You'd love to win the game by 30+. See those metrics take a little bit of a bump up. The net ranking, as we said, is in a pretty good spot, but this is the games where it hurts you if you don't win by what you're supposed to win by. So there was a game last year where Boise State won by like 41, and they moved up like 35 spots in the net ranking. So if you can blow out the bad teams, you can get some help in the rankings, which shows you that the net ranking system is kind of flawed. But this is an opportunity against a bad team to kind of get right and get back and get some momentum going before you have 2 huge games the next 2 Saturdays. By the way, Washington State, there's still a ton of tickets left for that. The downtown ICCU Arena, I'm not sure why that's the case, but I looked online. They've only sold about half the seats. It's only a 5,000-seat arena, and that upper level is wide open. So you want a chance in an intimate setting downtown against a quality team, Washington State, a big-time game on Saturday. Take a break from the football championship games and come over to ICCU Arena. Get your tickets now because that should be a sellout, and I was surprised to see how many tickets were still available there for Saturday. But first things first, tonight, Broncos 102, Utah Tech 59 from Nathaniel Wilder. And I would take that score. Leon Rice would take that score. That would be a very nice score for Boise State if they could win this game 102-59. Was Tyson okay in the last 2 games? If memory serves me right, he only had single digits in scoring. Yeah, he didn't play great the last couple games. Certainly, he felt fine. I just don't know what the problem was. He just didn't play great. So that's going to be a big thing in this game is getting Tyson Degenhart and Omar Stanley back to being Tyson Degenhart and Omar Stanley. Chad's wanting Chris Lockett. It wouldn't shock me if there's another freshman guard in the starting lineup tonight, but I don't know if it would be Chris Lockett or not. I think Julian Bowie kind of passed him up on the depth chart down there in the Cayman Islands, but we'll see if that's the direction Boise State wants to go. I certainly think Javen Buchanan could be inserted into this lineup and have a say here maybe. Nathaniel also has Buchanan as his player of the game. Devo go Broncos. You see Brady Frederick, KTVB down there. Looks like he's going live on Channel 7. The crowd filing in. Nice crowd going to be on hand here as Boise State getting set to take on Utah Tech. Jaden, can you find me a bracket of the college football playoff and airdrop that to me? And we can get that on the screen here in a minute. I want to talk a little football. I like the inside joke here saying I need I was getting called out for lying about UNLV returning tickets. What a weird thing for UNLV fans to get upset about. But UNLV did return some tickets. Those have since sold out. And I don't know if Boise State has officially announced it yet in the last couple of hours, but this game is approaching a sellout on Friday night. And I saw some of the signage already going up around the arena, around the stadium. Fox, big noon kickoff, already has 3 huge trucks on site. They're setting up the cables and the cameras and everything. It's going to be an unbelievable atmosphere Friday night. Because if you got tickets to a championship game, that means you're a diehard fan and you want to be there and you want to cheer. I suspect this to be one of the loudest, most energetic, electric atmospheres in the history of Albertson Stadium. And why not? A spot in the college football playoff on the line as Boise State moving up to number 10 in the rankings tonight will take on. You're trying to share a website with me? I need the picture. Just a JPEG picture of the. We're going to get that bracket up here in a minute. Jaden Finch is helping me behind the scenes here, but you'd like to see Boise State tonight get there we go. Let's see here. Hopefully this is the right size that we can get this in here too. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Send it to me again, Jaden. All right, let's see if it comes through again here. I hit the wrong button. But what do you guys think? Boise State coming in at number 10. We've got Arizona State at number 15, which to me tells me Boise State is getting a bye if they win. I don't think Boise State can get past. You guys may think differently. Let me know what you think. We're getting the bracket in here. I'm going to get this up here in just a second, but I don't think that there is now a way that Boise State is going to get past into the CFP for the first round bye. I think Boise State is getting the bye if they win. If they lose, they're out of the playoff, though. I mean, you talk about a situation where it is as drastic as it is. You either get a first-round bye, a 4 seed, maybe the 3 seed, or you're potentially likely not even getting in the playoff if you lose. That's crazy. Here is the updated bracket, by the way. Boise State getting that number 4 seed as the number 10 overall team. I thought Miami being below Alabama is interesting as well. Alabama, the last team in the field. Miami below them, so Miami is currently the first team out. They just released this about an hour ago over on ESPN. But you see SMU is the 3 seed right there at number 8. If Clemson were to beat SMU, which I think is certainly possible, Boise State could be in line to get the 3 seed, which I'll be honest, who would you rather play? Penn State, Arizona State winner or Notre Dame, Alabama winner? I might say bring on Penn State, to be honest. I don't know if Penn State worries me as much as Notre Dame or Alabama would. Let me know what you guys think with the way the bracket shakes out. I believe it would still be in the Fiesta Bowl. Some people said maybe they'd have to switch it if the Big 12 team would need to be if it's over Clemson, that could change things. If the Big 12 team gets a bye, they may have to go to the Fiesta Bowl. So I think there are some interesting things in play here. But as you see it right now, Boise State, the number 4 seed, and there is a 5-spot gap. So like I said, I think Boise State is in a great spot. If they win, they're getting a bye into the quarterfinals of the college football playoff. And just think about that scene on Friday night. We got to find out who the sponsor is of the Fiesta Bowl, though, because I remember it was Vizio back in 2014, a TV company, and yet you had Armand Nance out there with a sombrero and chips because it used to be Tostitos, and he was celebrating. if it's Vizio, we need to get some TVs up there or something. We got to figure something out in terms of who the sponsor is for that game. Who do we have? Is it VRBO? Okay. Is that like an Airbnb type play? Okay. So I guess there's not really a way to, unless you're holding up keys or something I don't know. There's no way to probably do that. But the VR, is it Verbo or VRBO? I'm an idiot. I don't know how you say it. But okay, so that is the sponsor of the Fiesta Bowl, I guess. 3 seed in play if Clemson beats SMU. 100%, Nathaniel. I agree. Don May is coming to town from the Bay Area. I saw, Don, I believe you were purchasing some tickets for folks as well. Good on you. A lot of former players is coming as well. Alexander Tubner's making progress. What do you got, sir? We got a fan here wanting to know about Alexander Tubner. I would say it's increasing by the day, but I'm still not ready to say yes. Still not ready, but I think there's a real chance, based on what I've been told, that Alexander Tubner, even in limited action, is certainly trying to get back out there. We'll see what happens with that, but he is really, really, really trying. And that would be just a huge bonus for Boise State if they could get Alexander Tubner back. And it's pretty crazy. I don't think when they did this thing with the committee, they ever thought they would be in a situation where the group of 5 team could get the bye. But it looks like if Boise State wins, they're 100% getting the bye. I thought they might try to find a way to close that gap with Arizona State, but they didn't do it. They kept 5-spot difference there, which for me means that I think Boise State is in a prime position to get that bye if they're able to win the game. Let's hear Spencer Danielson talk about Alexander Tubner while we're talking about it. This was Monday, the update on Alexander Tubner and whether or not he can get out there.
So, BJ, today at practice, he was able to do some stuff. Hopefully we get him back this week in some form or fashion. It was awesome getting him out there with cleats on, doing a lot of things. He's such a warrior. He will be ahead of schedule of any doctor. I know that. It's going to be close, though. But he did some stuff at practice today. And
it sounds like he did a little more stuff the next couple of days. So certainly big time potentially if you can get Alexander Tubner back for this game. We'll see. But folks are asking about ticket sales. Boise State has not announced it as a sellout, and yet there's no seats available online. So we'll see, but it is trending towards a sellout. If you want tickets right now, your best bet is to go on the secondary market. There were some scalpers that bought a lot of tickets, so there's a lot of tickets on the secondary market still available if you want to go. But it's going to be electric. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait. But, yeah, if you're wanting to go, Chris, your best bet is to go to the secondary markets like StubHub. You got to have to pay a little extra, unfortunately. But I think that is an option. Hey, while we're waiting for Boise State to come back out, let's hear from Leon Rice. I want to thank a couple sponsors real quick, and then we'll get Leon Rice's thoughts on this matchup tonight. And we'll show you warm-ups when Boise State comes back out. Snake River Pool and Spa, Patio and Game. Check them out. Locations in Twin Falls, Boise, Meridian, Nampa. They've been around since 1978. They're part of the Boise State home team, whether it's a spa for the back patio, pool table for the game room, a sauna. They got you covered. Check out their full inventory online and their options at thespateam.com. The weather's getting cold, the ice, the snow, it's coming, and you need to have an all-wheel drive vehicle from Lithia Ford of Boise. The Raines family purchased our F-150 from Lithia. We are loving it. We are ready for the ice and the snow to come our way, and you can too with the all-wheel drive vehicles at LithiaFordBoise.com. They have 6 NIL deals. They're one of the biggest supporters of Boise State athletics. Return the favor. Purchase your next vehicle from Lithia Ford of Boise. Check them out online. View that full inventory of vehicles at LithiaFordBoise.com. Also got word today that Taco Bell is renewing for another year. TacoBellWorks.com, SON Management, the Nicolason family. We are super appreciative and thankful to them for renewing for another year at BroncoNationNews.com. Please, folks, when it's time to go get that fast food meal, head to Taco Bell. Whether it's if you want to eat healthy, they have, the Cantina bowls and things. They've got all the various tacos, nachos, burritos. Their breakfast is outstanding as well. So, and the kids love the cheesy roll-ups and the slushies. You can feed a couple of kids for like $5. So check them out. Great food. And they are hiring if you're looking for a job at TacoBellWorks.com. Speaking of a job, how about transportation compliance service? If you're looking for a job, maybe the trucking industry suits your boat. Jump on into the trucking industry. Transcomservice.com, all the permits, DOT, overweight, everything you need to get out there towing that first load in no time. They can help you out at Transportation Compliance service. We bring you back in live here at ExtraMile Arena. Boise State getting set to take on Utah Tech. Broncos should be back on the court shortly. The crowd is filing in. Let us know where you're watching from. We'll give you some shout-outs, see who's watching from the furthest away. Give us your score predictions, your thoughts on football, basketball, whatever you got. And let's hear from Leon Rice, Boise State head coach, on the matchup tonight.
Well, we learned a lot, and that's why you do these things in November. And I thought we just aren't clicking as far as the lineups. I think our guys are playing hard. We're playing together. We're doing a lot of really good things, but I think there's an upside to this team once we get these lineups kind of, what our most effective lineups are, who plays with whom the best, and on, that kind of thing. And, you look all over the country, there's a lot of teams that are going through this, and it's just the new era. When we've got some veterans that have been back and in the system, but when you have 8 guys that weren't in the jerseys last year, I knew, and we all knew, that part of it would take some time. But I'm pleased with our guys, the effort, their way they're playing together. We're doing some really good things offensively. We're doing some good things defensively, but areas we can get a lot better at. And so there's going to be growth in the team, and that's what you want.
And you guys have had, the last couple of years where you've taken a loss or two early and it hasn't killed you. I mean, you've been able to learn from it and move on. Is that similar? I guess you guys aren't afraid. That it's a long season, and one loss in November is not going to kill your resume or kill your.
Absolutely.
Your
I mean, it's the selection is not today. You got to go earn it. And the great thing is we've got some good opportunities right in front of us, and then our league's doing a great job again with their numbers and the teams in our league, and so there's a lot of positives to it. But it's the teams that can keep getting better now, and you got to go out and play some. You could schedule all home games, you could schedule all those ones where there's no risk or very little risk, and there's a risk to every game. I don't mean it sound like that, but we want to go out and schedule aggressively, especially this year. We did right out of the gate, and we've already, as of today, we've already got a quad 1 win, and there's not many teams, when you look around that have those that banked a quad 1 win already. And so you'd like to win them all, no doubt, and we've been really competitive on all of them and been right there. And we lose that tournament on a step back jumper. That's a tough way to lose it, but it's an ACC team. Their number will correct because they're going to play a lot of good games too. And but it keeps making you turn it over and get better. And that's what this team knows that we want to do.
To get 2 games that go down to the buzzer, I mean, I'm sure you'd love to win every game by 20, but that's not realistic, But how nice is it to have those 2 games on film to see how the team responds in those situations?
Yeah, that's experience. It helps you, and it helps you learn, what you can do different, and maybe to also make it so it doesn't have to go down to the buzzer. And but we played some good teams there, and you're playing on a different time zone, big adjustment on the road, basically, and so you learn a lot, and you grow up a lot, and I think our team's doing that.
Talk about what Buchanan's been able to do.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Really come on.
Yeah, he's a pretty good player. We knew it would take him some time to get a little comfortable, and like I said, where he fits in the program as far as the system and where he can get his buckets, what his strengths are, and I think he's settling in really nicely, and I think he was the MVP of that tournament, and he would have got it had the last shot not gone, but still think he deserved it.
You were mentioning the lineups, Leon. I mean, you had the bench outscore the starters spare during that tournament. On one hand, that's good, but I assume that's something you want to kind of get fixed, right? Where your starters are scoring those points.
Yeah, we're going to make, there's always going to be adjustments as you go and figuring stuff out. And, that's kind of this part of the season you're at right now. And you look around the country and you see there's very few teams that have their roles. When you watch these teams closely, there's only a couple I've seen that they're like, okay, that team, they all know their roles and where their parts fit together. And there's, this year, I swear there's way more that don't have their identity and their roles figured out than there are that do.
With that said, though, I mean, how much do you need Tyson to be Tyson, and
Right.
And I guess Omar too to kind of not play like he played in the tournament?
No doubt, and that's that's what we got to get them back to being at their best, because you're talking about all league players, and your all league players are going to perform, and they're going to perform over time, and that was just a anomaly for Omar, and there was a little foul trouble involved, all those kind of things, but we adjust, we figure it out, and we'll make him better.
When do you find, you mentioned teams finding their roles. When do you find that they usually find theirs? Or is that something that goes on all the way to March?
Yeah, and it changes, and like we've had it changes with individuals, but it also changes with your team, because just because we settle into it now doesn't mean it might change again in January, February. I mean, you look at that one year when we put Jeff Loriaga in the lineup about middle of the conference or late, somewhere in January, and we went on to win like 14 out of our next 15 games. But he was a freshman, and he just got better and better and better and better, and then he was ready. So you don't know when we got some guys that are young and new in this system that I envision them contributing way more as we go forward. You just don't know when sometimes.
How much of a boost is that depth, though, when you can have Javen come off the bench and lead the team in scoring, especially tournament setting when you have back-to-back games and have to reach into your depth a little bit?
Right, it was huge, and it won us that South Dakota State game, and then it put us in the position to in the next game too. So now he's playing at a high level, and the guys. The best thing about this team is how unselfish they are, and pretty smart basketball IQ, because they kept finding him and kept getting him the ball, and it led to a good possession almost every time. And so like I said, we're doing a lot of really good things, and to beat Clemson like we did here, I mean that's a heck of a basketball team we just beat, and like you stacked a quad one win already. So we're doing some great things, but the encouraging thing and exciting thing for me is I think we've got a lot of upside still.
When you talk about the lineups, I mean, it would seem like Javen and Tyson, I mean, they're different, but they do a lot of similar things too in terms of what they can do, in my opinion. How do you, I mean, what we saw Javen doing a lot in that game, you're thinking, that's last year that was Tyson. Just taking the ball, posting up, doing all that stuff. I mean, taking over the game. How do those guys kind of coexist out there?
Right, and that's, I think that's a big part of what affected Omar. You got Tyson and Javen around the post. You got Dylan running to the post, and Omar's like, we're about, and I'm telling you, there's a big, when I looked at this team in the summer and in the fall, Omar was our best player a lot of days. And so we got to get him back to being comfortable and finding his spots too, because like I said, that's another all-league player that, that hasn't settled into playing as good as I know he can, and I know he will. And so that I think figuring that stuff out will really help Omar too.
Like you said, Leon, your teams are still trying to find an identity. Now you've got a handful of games under your belts. Where do you see the identity of this team going or becoming?
Well, we're a load inside. I mean, and with a lot of guys. So, and I think we've got a team that has a lot of offensive potential. Now we got to, to win, to go where we want to go, you got to be elite defensively, and you got to be elite on the glass. I mean, we were 7-2 in conference on the road last year, and the reason was we were solid defensively and we're good on the glass, and we got to improve those areas a lot. And like I said, it's not like it's not like we haven't been good, but we have to be great to go where we want to
go. The newcomers, Emmanuel and Alvaro, what has kind of impressed you most with their role kind of so far this season?
Well, both of Al has just kind of managed this team really well, but there's a lot of things he's going to do better down, because he had to get comfortable with these guys and comfortable with our system and what, so I think he's going to make a big jump. Emmanuel, same thing. He hadn't played college basketball before, and his adjustment has been pretty good, but there was a lot thrown at him, and again, another guy that can be around the hoop and score and big body. that you're trying to juggle into that rotation and figure all that out to give him minutes out there, because he's helped us in the minutes that he's given us.
Probably.
Well, there you go. Leon Rice speaking with the media. If you want to hear the rest of that, you can go to BroncoNationNews.com. Veteran officiating crew tonight, Tommy Nunez right in front of us. That guy right there, Tommy Nunez, was one of the NBA officials in the Malice in the Palace brawl. If you go watch the brawl at the Malice in the Palace with Ron Artest back in the day, Tommy Nunez right there used to be an NBA official and was right in the middle of that. You also have Michael Irving, and I believe that's Mike Littlewood. Had a little controversy. He's from Utah, was a baseball coach at Utah Valley or something, one back in the day. But overall, pretty good officiating crew for this one. Ken Dick, appreciate you, Mr. Dick, watching from Lebanon, Tennessee. Appreciate you for watching from Tennessee. And, yeah, this is Dixie State. They have changed their name to Utah Tech. Sounds a little better than Dixie State. Boise State, again, the magic number is 21. Favored on Ken Palm to win by 21. You'd like to see 30-plus, but at a minimum, you'd like to win this by at least 21. See the metrics go up. I can go ahead and report 2 changes to the starting lineup tonight. Julian Bowie, the freshman, is starting. Javen Buchanan, the NAI transfer, is starting. They will replace Dylan Anderson and Andrew Meadow in the starting lineup. And again, I think this is maybe a short-term fix. We'll see. But tonight, the freshman Bowie was super impressive down there in the Cayman Islands, and he's going to get a chance to start his first career game for the Broncos tonight. Andrew Meadow and Dylan Anderson both will come off the bench for Boise State tonight. Again, Javen Buchanan, not really a surprise that he moves into the starting lineup after an all-tournament team performance down in the Cayman Islands. And now fans are going to get to see him with their own eyes here in Boise, the improvement that he made. He looks like an all-league player. We'll see if he continues that tonight. Hey, Ashton Genty, make sure you get his gear. The Blue and Orange store has got coaches apparel, sideline apparel, all that good stuff. Check it out. They got a couple racks right in the front. They got that clearance rack. All your NIL gear, all your Boise State game day gear. Get your sweatshirts and your jackets for the game on Friday. Check them out at the Blue and Orange store and the Blue and Orange store.com. Hey, coming in January and February, when the Broncos get 70, you get a hot dog and a soda for $2 at Jackson's. Hot dog and a soda for $2 at Jackson's. Thanks to our friends at Jackson's. And don't forget, 25 cents from every hot dog sold goes to support the Horseshoe Collective. So stop by Jackson's, grab some cold drinks, grab a hot dog, help the Horseshoe Collective. We appreciate our sponsors at Jackson's. Don't forget about Lean Feast as well. If you're looking to do some meal prep, get a head start on the week. They deliver anywhere in the Treasure Valley. They're feeding the football team, the basketball team. They can feed you as well. LeanFeastMeridian.com, 10,000-plus combinations. A lot of healthy eating options. Check them out, LeanFeastMeridian.com. We'll gladly take your voicemails. If you got a post-game voicemail for us, Jaden will get that in the system tonight. SpeakPipe.com/BNN. SpeakPipe.com/BNN for the post-game show. If you have some post-game thoughts, leave us a voicemail. And that's brought to you by My Signature Roofing. Signature Roofing, covering our community for more than 20 years. MySignatureRoofing.com, whether it's a re-roof, whether it's a repair, inspection, estimates, they can do it all. MySignatureRoofing.com. And a couple of quick programming notes. Riley and Ridd will be tomorrow at 6:30. Tomorrow at 6:30. Should have been tonight at 8. We're pushing it back to tomorrow at 6:30 from the James for Riley and Ridd. And Ball Talk with Sanford and Johnny is going to be at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock tomorrow. 2 live shows tomorrow night. We'll have the morning show as well. But the team's heading back. We're getting ready for the national anthem here tonight. Boise State looking to rebound from the loss in the Cayman Islands Championship, trying to get back on track. 2 big games coming up on the following 2 Saturdays against Washington State and against St. Mary's. So an opportunity for Boise State to get some momentum going tonight. 20-point spread in Vegas. But you'd like to see some guys get playing better, get some confidence better going in to, like I said, a couple big games starting with Washington State on Saturday. Again, if you just joined us, Boise State football, number 10 in the college football playoff rankings, coming in as the number 4 seed. Arizona State is number 15, so Boise State in a pretty good spot to secure that bye if they're able to win on Friday against UNLV. We'll have plenty of football talk tomorrow at 9 a.m. We'll go all through the rankings. We'll talk football. We'll talk basketball. 9 a.m. tomorrow on Bronco Nation News Live. We'll be back on the post-game show as well. Join us, the ICCU post-game show after the game tonight. Boise State, Utah Tech. We'll have interviews. We'll have highlights, analysis after the game, about 20, 30 minutes. Join us around 9:30 for the post-game show. That'll do it. Our title sponsor, rowpaint.com. Check them out for all your painting needs. We're in the Western Collective Studios. Make sure you pick up a Horseshoe Golden Ale or an Orange Chaos Seltzer to enjoy with the game tonight. And we'll talk to you on the post-game show. Follow us on social media at BNN Bronco Nation, at BJ Rains. We'll have live coverage, stats, all that good stuff. And then we'll talk to you post-game. Thanks for your subscriptions, guys. $50, BNN 50 deal. Get a year subscription, BNN 50 deal at BroncoNationNews.com. Read Mike Prater, read myself. Exclusive stories, exclusive access. We would really appreciate it if you were able to help us out with a subscription to BroncoNationNews.com. If not, at least go ahead and give us a YouTube subscription, a like on social media, share our posts, all that good stuff as we continue to build towards what should be a monster game on Friday. Tons of coverage all week long. Enjoy the game, everybody. They're getting ready for the national anthem, so we got to jump off. We will talk to you on the post-game show. Boise State, Utah Tech coming up. My name is BJ Rains. Jaden Finch here as well. Enjoy the game. We'll talk to you afterwards. Bronco Nation News Live, the Lithia Florida Boise pregame show, BroncoNationNews.com.
Bronco Nation News is presented by rowpaint.com, Idaho Central Credit Union, Taco Bell, by Lithia Ford, the Blue and Orange Store, Western Collective, by Jackson's, Snake River Pool and Spa, Transportation Compliance Service, Bauscher Real Estate, Ridley's Family Markets, by Circa Las Vegas, Lean Feast, and by Timberstone Golf Course.